Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of digital fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn, and today I wanted to talk about the sealed deck format as it pertains to Wonders of the First, both its viability as a format moving forward and my experience with it as a format, playing it for the first time in a full-on tournament at the first Shattering launch event in South Carolina a little over a month ago. Really changed my perception of just what this could mean for the game, and I'm pretty excited about it. I also just want to mention that I am going to be starting a limited format play group in northeastern United States, so if you're in the southern New Hampshire, northern Massachusetts area at all, and you want to be involved in an experimental play group testing the viability of the limited format moving forward, you're definitely going to want to get in touch with me, and we're going to go into a little bit more detail about that at the end of this video, and I'll give you guys some contact info if you are interested. I have the product. We're going to be able to do this as a weekly thing, and I'm pretty excited about it. But I think we should probably start off first just by going over the differences to sealed and what makes it different from constructed, because there are a few notable differences in this format. The biggest difference to sealed deck over constructed formats is that you can ignore the core requirements for cards. Whereas in constructed, you can only play a card with a core requirement if you have the matching land for the same orbital that gives you the link. In limited formats, you can ignore those core requirements entirely and you don't need the matching link from the matching land. It's worth pointing out that you can only play with whatever lands you actually open in your packs. It's not like Magic the Gathering where you can add a bunch of basic lands after the fact. Whatever you open is what you've got to work with, so getting rid of these core requirements on the powerful cards is one way of sort of getting around that in sealed. There is one other way they do that we'll get to in just a little bit, but for those of you that have no idea what I'm talking about, I would recommend you first check out my review and how to play video so that you have a grasp on the basics of the game, and then come back and check out the rest of this video. For the rest of you, you're probably asking yourself the same question I was at first, which is, what's preventing me from just adding all of the most powerful cards that I opened from every single color, from every single orbital, into the same deck and just playing 6-color good stuff? And the answer to that is sort of nothing. And that's what I did at first as well. In my first round, I was just playing all 6 colors, all 6 orbitals, just playing the best cards that I opened. And what I started to realize is that fine-tuning your deck and focusing on just a couple colors actually ended up being way more important than I thought. If you're not doing that and you're just playing 5 or 6 color good stuff, and you're playing against an opponent that has focused on just a couple colors, they're getting a cost reduction from all of the links on their lands for almost everything that they're playing, and you're probably very rarely getting a cost reduction on anything. So as the game goes on, they actually start to pull ahead in tempo. And over the course of a 7-round game, they can get 10 or 15 energies worth of tempo ahead of you just by playing into just a very select few amount of colors that they know they have enough land for, instead of going crazy and trying to play every single great card in every single color that they opened in their packs. And then at the end of the day, what I realized is the best strategy is sort of to meet in the middle. You mostly want to focus on just a couple colors and try to maximize the potential for cost reductions on as many cards as you can so that you can keep up tempo-wise with your opponent. But at the same time, you probably want to splash a few cards even if they're off color, even if you have little to no lands for those colors, just because the cards are so powerful that they're worth including, even if you're playing them at a tempo loss because you're paying more energy than you otherwise would if you had the link. And I thought that that was kind of interesting. In addition to that, I did find another way in which they're mitigating the problems with not having access to just an infinite amount of lands, because on the back of every token in every pack, there is an actual generic land that you can run, and it's random what orbital or color it will belong to, but you'll always have those extra token lands that you can add into your deck to help you get the land count that you would like. And seeing as each pack consists of 12 cards, with one of those cards being a dedicated token slot, that means you're going to be opening at least 6 of these token lands in addition to whatever actual land cards you open in your packs. So you should have plenty of lands to go with whatever colors or orbitals you're trying to put together, and that in conjunction with the dropping of the core requirements, I think makes for a very interested limited format, where you're constantly trying to make the best decisions about what kind of deck to build. Do you go deeper into one of your colors that has more powerful cards but less lands? Or do you go deeper into a color where your cards aren't as powerful but can be more consistent because you have more lands with links, and then just splash a couple of the most powerful cards from that previous color? And these sorts of questions are constantly coming up during deck building. You're constantly reevaluating the worth of things and which direction your deck should go. And for me, when I was playing in the tournament at the first Shattering, I was constantly updating and fine-tuning my deck in between every single match as I was learning and adapting to the way that this game works a little bit differently than other games that I've played limited formats for. And to be completely honest, playing this game in Limited in that tournament was the most fun I've ever had playing Limited. And those of you that know me know that my favorite way to play any CCG, at least in physical form on an actual tabletop, is a limited format, either sealed or draft. So saying that my absolute best time, the most fun I've ever had playing Limited, was in Wonders of the First, the very first time I played it, is kind of crazy, and it just sounds insane to say, but it's honestly the truth. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe how fun it was, and trying to figure out just what's more valuable and what's less valuable, and trying to eke out just all of the value out of every card you could to try to get ahead of your opponent. There's just so much to think about. There's so many subtle ways in which it's different from other games, and I can't wait to dig in more. Which brings me to the last thing I want to talk about in this video, and that's circling back to one of the first things I brought up at the beginning of the video, which is I am starting this playtest team, this playtest club, if you will, of people that are going to get together on a weekly basis and play this game limited. We're going to start out with just sealed, and then maybe as we start to get our bearings with sealed more and start to get a feel for it, we can start testing out draft. So if you are interested in being a part of my play group and playing on a weekly basis, I do have the product to support this. We're going to do it every single week. If you're in the southern New Hampshire or northern Massachusetts areas, just let me know. Send me an email. In fact, I'm going to include my email address in the description and in the comments. Specifically, send me an email, let me know that you want to be a part of this playtest group, and we're going to do some crazy stuff. We're going to keep hitting this. We're going to see just how deep it goes, how much more interesting it gets as we start to become more accustomed to it. And I'm going to be filming everything along the way so that we can put those results on YouTube for all of you guys to check out and just see how interesting and deep this game can be in Limited. But that's going to do it for today's video, so thank you so much for tuning in. I also want to point out that coming very, very soon is going to be a full gameplay video for the finals match, first and second place in the finals for the first ever limited tournament that I took part in at the first Shattering event where we launched this game. So that full finals match is coming to the channel soon. I'm in the middle of editing it right now, so look forward to that if you are interested in sealed. And if you want to be a part of that play group, definitely make sure you email me. That's QuarantinedCapricorn@gmail.com. Like, subscribe, do the thing, and I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons over at Patreon. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your contributions. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. The more likes we get and the quicker we get them, the bigger this channel will grow and the faster it will grow. I'd love nothing more than this channel to become something very special for you guys, but it's entirely up to you how fast that happens. Also, if you'd like more deck text, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere up that way. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.